Want to hear a dirty little secret? Most Airbnb hosts do the bare minimum to get by, and it shows in their calendars. I mean, heck, only 25% of hosts are super hosts. That's freaking crazy when you think about how easy it is to get superhost. They slap a listing together, click publish, and off to the races. Fingers crossed, hoping for the best. That is not how this game works at all. This video is for serious hosts. I'm talking professionals, not hobbyists. If you want to build a listing that attracts guests, commands premium prices, and just runs smooth, watch this video all the way through. This is the second video of a Create an Airbnb little series that I'm throwing together. So if you haven't even started your Airbnb listing yet, don't even have an account, please, please, please watch the first video, which will be linked below, or there'll be some kind of pop-up somewhere, but watch that first video. And if you have already started or have an Airbnb listing and you want to optimize it, you're in the right place. Please watch that first video and then come back here to finish the job the right way, get it done, get you ready to go. But if you've already created that listing or already have one and you want to optimize it and make it really pop, well, you're in the right place. So stick around and I'll make it worth your while. And for those of you who don't know me, how can I make it worth your while? Well, we've done this across dozens of listings. We've consulted on over 50 listings, and we've had our hands on over 100 listings ourselves. Now, I'm not some big fancy guru that's gonna flash like mansions and pool parties and all that stuff across you. I'm gonna show you how to do this with very basic listings. I mean, half of our listings are apartments. You know, we have 1-bedrooms and studios. So we're gonna show you how to implement these principles on real properties, not these wazoo, insane, unique stays that of course are gonna look awesome when you've got a pool, arcade, rock wall, bowling alley, and movie theater all in one. When you have 20 hero photos in your property, odds are it's probably gonna do good. So I'm George from B&B Guardians. Thank you for joining me. Let's dive in and make something real special here. And when I say real special, I mean something that's gonna make you a boatload of cash. Okay, now, before we deep dive how to make a perfect listing, I want to identify something that we talk about. It's the difference between hobbyists and professionals. Hobbyists are the people that, started their Airbnb a few years ago in the bad times, the dark days of COVID, threw it up and just made a boatload of money because people just wanted to get out. They could make money doing almost virtually nothing with horrible listings and being horrible hosts. Those are hobbyists. Hobbyists are people that treat this as a game. They really don't care. They have a listing, it may be something they own, it may be a part of a duplex or something. They don't really care about it, and if it doesn't make enough money, they'll just try to match a long-term tenant. A professional is someone who has made their livelihood around building an Airbnb business. Someone who sees that even if they might just have one studio apartment, it is the pathway, it is the key to their freedom, and they treat it as such. We're going to deep dive how to be a professional and create a professional listing. That being said, let's hop to our fake listing that I created earlier. Okay, I'm gonna move me over here for this one. Okay, so that's listed. I want to turn it off. Let's turn this off immediately so someone doesn't book my property. I'm gonna go to at that little cog there, listing status, and boom, unlisted, just like that. We're gonna unlist it for now. Why? I'm not ready to host right now. Another reason. Cool. Unlist. You're now unlisted. Whew. Okay, great. You're safe for now. All right, another tool that you can use also, just to help you out, is booking settings. We're gonna turn off instant book for now. So all these things, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I agree. I have instant book on all the time, but we're gonna turn it off until we're ready to use it. Why? Just in case there's some weird glitch in the matrix and your listing goes listed for whatever reason, or you forget. It's kind of like a double safety feature there. You're gonna have to approve a booking before it comes in, and it's not gonna instantly happen, and you're not gonna get screwed with, someone booking your unit with no proper fees set up, no cleaning fees, or a lower price than it needs to be, or it's, in our case, a fake listing that isn't real. So yes, you don't wanna have to cancel on someone. That is a surefire way to absolutely tank your superhost status. So we're gonna do that. And I like to start from the top of the listing, that is, with the title. Cool. We're gonna go in and rewrite the title. I pulled together some of the ones that we use here, some of our properties. So right here, this is a brand new one. Wanted to showcase this. It's a cool property. This is the thing that people come for. Yeah, it's a cool property, brand new property. Got the king bed, got the fire pit, soon to have jacuzzis. Great, but it's 1 minute to Bryce Resort, which is why people are coming. Here we go. King bed, baby. 2 free parking in an area where parking is pretty hard to come by, and it's a brick carriage house, pretty dope property. And then talking about those tiny properties. This is a studio apartment. It's a tiny little studio. It's got a heart of gold. It's in Old Town. It's a block to King, 99 walk score. I throw in Nature Oasis because it is a themed unit. So we did put a little theme title in there for people to see. And at the time we were doing it, people were looking for ways to escape the city without, I couldn't afford to. So we created a little nature escape for them in there. These are all ideas of that title that we talked to earlier. We want to really, really capitalize on using, we really want to capitalize on hitting the best amenities for that title. And we're back. Okay, photos. here's the deal. Let's have a real talk about photos for a sec. I highly recommend you invest in a professional photographer to come to your space and photograph it at, like, I'm thinking a whole day shoot. You want to get morning light, you want to get midday light, you want to get evening light. You want to get all those beautiful colors in the sky, the purples and the oranges. You want to get the rooms when they're bright and filled with natural light. You want to capture everything possible that you can capture from the outside and the inside of the property. You want to capture the vibe. And this is something that people just don't tell you when you start an Airbnb. When you get photography for an Airbnb, you probably get a real estate photographer and they come in and do their nice real estate photos. Here's the deal. You're not selling a house, you're selling an experience. So you want to get photos that capture the vibe. Think millennial that takes pictures of their food at a restaurant. As annoying as that is the concept that you want to go for when you're getting the pictures of these units. So have a photographer come, get a bunch of photos, like more than you think you need. You can always not pick some and then have a bunch to go through. It will help you in the long run, I promise. Oh, and here's the deal. If no one ever told you about that and you're like, where did this info come from? There's tons more stuff like that that you need to know when you're starting up an Airbnb. So to help you out, I'm gonna throw up this magical, I'm thinking it's probably gonna be right about there, magical guide. It is a guide on how to pick and start your first Airbnb, and you can get it for free. Just type free cheese, and that's what you'll get. You're gonna get the free cheese. I'm gonna give you all the stuff that we've worked on over setting up over 20 units and helping other people set up units across the United States and multiple different markets. We're gonna give you our tips and tricks that we've used for real people to create real units, not real estate tycoons having either, their 8-bedroom mansion. I'm talking how to set up the 1 to 2 bedrooms, the 3 bedrooms, and even the studios. We're gonna show you in this guide. So if that's something that you're interested in, like I said, free cheese below in the comments, and we'll get that over to you ASAP. Now, let's get back to it. All right, I'm working in the order here of how you'd see it. So we got the photos, we got the title, we know the property type, you've already done that. And this is where, see all these details here. Apartment, guess what? Let's just say it is a rental unit, which it is. Is it the entire place? It sure is. How many floors are in the building? We'll just say 3, and we're lucky, we're on the first floor, baby. The year built. The more detail you can put, the better. Unfortunately for our hypothetical building, it was built in the 60s, but don't worry, it's got character. Property size, we're gonna go with 500 square feet. Perfect. All right, cool. Guess what? Sorry, your apartment isn't part of a category. Unless it's like George Washington's apartment, then maybe it would be. But in this case, it isn't. Cool. Pricing. Boy, oh boy. Here's the deal. I deep dive pricing in our school community. I'll throw the link for that down below as well. But when you're setting up just on Airbnb, you're gonna wanna do something here. And that one thing is not click the smart pricing. Please don't do that. Instead, you're gonna set a base price. You can pick what that is. And I'll say for this one, I'm like, hey, you know what? I think I can get $279 as a base price. You're gonna want a weekend price that is a little higher. And you know you can demand more. So we're gonna say $349 for the weekend. Great. And we talked about discounts earlier, 5 and 10. You're gonna wanna really deep dive this, and I say all this here because pricing on Airbnb just isn't pricing. You can set up the base price and you can do a bunch of stuff within Airbnb, and you don't, if you're really good and all you do is sit on your computer and really learn revenue management, you can manage on Airbnb and you don't need a pricing software. But if you want to leverage the future, AI, all that stuff, well, you're probably gonna need to get a pricing software. So here's the deal. We use PriceLabs. There's Wheelhouse, PriceLabs, there's all sorts of revenue management software. We've tried a bunch of them and we like PriceLabs the best. It integrates well, it has a lot of cool features, and you can get as fine-tuned as you want with this thing. I'm talking, every day of the year can have a different price. And then once you have that set up running automatically in the background, you can then go into Airbnb and then use the manual tools that Airbnb has to drive people to your listing with length of stay discounts and all other sorts of early bird, last minute discounts that Airbnb will reward you for using. So my recommendation, quick little revenue management, class here, get a pricing software, link it to your listing, have that set up, and then go backwards when you're done back to the Airbnb listing, and then do that last minute update, tweak, price adjustment here and there on Airbnb. So you get the extra bonus from Airbnb and they hook you up on the back end. So that being said, if you want to use PriceLabs, we'll also include the link to PriceLabs below in the description. Feel free to use that. All right, we've gone through pricing. Next up, availability. So this is your journey to go on, minimum nights. But I would say this, depending on the property, minimum nights might make sense. For a studio in an area where people travel for work, I leave it at 1. Call me crazy. Maximum nights, yeah, okay, we can leave that 365. But let's just say that you're like, hey, I live in an area where we got enough volume, or for whatever reason, you're like, I don't want one night stays at my Airbnb. Maybe you live near a college town and people frequently just use it as a place to,
Do the deed, do the dirty, the horizontal tango, the what have you, the one night stay, if you will, in Airbnb terms.
So we'll just make it 2 nights. That way, worst case scenario, if they want to, use your place for, an F Shack with Dirty Mike and the boys, they got to book it for 2 nights, make you a little extra cash. You know what I'm talking about.
You turned my beautiful Prius into a nightmare.
We are going to have sex in your car. It will happen again.
All right, great. So we'll save it. We'll do 2 night. Why not? For this fake listing. Okay, advance notice. How much time do you need between guest booking and their arrival? Same day. I'm okay with same day. You can say, hey, check in at 8. They can check in as late as 8. Now you might be saying, George, why not just let it go till 12 o'clock? Why not let them book whatever? Here's the deal. If someone's booking your Airbnb at 11:30 at night, odds are they're going to be a bad guest. Let's protect you guys a little bit here and give a protection here. We'll allow requests for the same day. Sure. All right, there's your availability. Just like that, bang, bang, bada boom, availability done. Number of guests, we've talked about this. I like to do 2 people per bed for normal sized beds. Okay, listing description. This is where you're gonna do that amazing copywriting. I'm talking the whole kit and caboodle. So, simple way to make a killer description, because I didn't spend a lot of time at writing copy school, is go onto ChatGPT, get all the amenities about your property. I'm talking, hey, everything from the parking to the pool to the beds, all that stuff, where it's located, especially its access and proximity to all the things that people are coming to stay at the area for. You're gonna put that in your description, and then at the end of it, you're going to have a call to action like, hey, book your amazing retreat today. And you're gonna have sentences that sound a lot like this. Your amazing apartment in the heart of Old Town Alexandria awaits you. Sit back and relax in your comfy lazy boy recliner while you watch your amazing 52-inch TV, stuff like that. I mean, it's as simple as that, and you want it individual lines. People are lazy and they're scared of big paragraphs. Like, big paragraphs really scare people. They need it to be broken down into lines, simple lines, easy lines. In fact, the lower the grade level of reading, the better. You just want people to read this, them to say the word you a lot and say, yeah, this is where I'm gonna stay. And then basically highlight the best things about your listing. And at the end, tell them to book your property. If you can do that, you're gonna have a pretty successful description. You wanna say you to the point where you feel gross and uncomfortable, a little bit like an Airbnb. I don't think you can say that, so I'm gonna beep that out. All right, your property. This is where you go through the granular detail of the space. I'm talking, all the rooms, all the different things about the rooms. What kind of bed is in each room? If there's TVs in the room, what the kitchen's looking like, what kind of other features, the little things that don't sell a place but are good for people to know. For instance, in your description, you don't want to waste those 500 characters on talking about how, you got a 2-person sink. You don't want to talk about toilets in the listing description, I guess, but perfect place to talk about how you've got 4 of them in the property description. Guest access, this is where you let them know what part of the space they can use. So if you've got a joint house and you don't want them going in your kitchen, weird, but whatever. But yeah, tell them, hey, don't use the kitchen. You can't use the kitchen there. The kitchen is not for you. But I also use this as a way to tell people, hey, the parking is here, there's a garage, all that stuff. Everything, hey, make sure you park on this or that. And we're gonna send them parking instructions too, but we just hammer them with details in multiple different places because let's just face it, people don't read stuff. So we let them know here what they have access to. Interactions with guests. This is where we tell them pretty much, hey, keep all the communication on Airbnb. We'll be able to communicate you with as much or as little as you need for your stay. We love talking with hosts, but we want to respect your privacy, all that good stuff. You're going to put that in the interaction with guests here. And then you're also going to put how they can get a hold of you. And if you're going to be sending them a guidebook on check-in, and if there's one at the property, I also put that there. I let them know, hey, once you book, you'll be getting a copy of a guidebook for our property, and then you will also have a physical copy of the book there. And then other details to note, this is where I put stuff like my smoking fee, party fee, other rules, things that people don't want to see and that's not going to sell the property, but is on my listing. So if they violate it, I can say, gotcha. So that's what we got there. All right, on to amenities. Now, here's the deal. There are so many more amenities that were on the Airbnb page when you create the listing. And you're like, what the hell is up with that? Yeah, it's kind of messed up. When you create your listing on Airbnb, they only give you access to like 20 different amenities. There are a lot more than that. So go through all and make sure you're going through and you're checking every little amenity that you've got. You got wine glasses, boom, check it. Now here's the deal. When you say before the amenities, you can be a little liberal with your interpretation of stuff. So when it comes to babysitter recommendations, if you know someone that babysits, you got those. Backyard, you got a little patch of grass in the back there where the garbage bins are. Technically backyard. I'm gonna check it. If they can stand out there and have a drink or smoke a cigar, backyard, baby. Oh, and then it's gonna tell you all the different stuff there. So it gives you opportunity to put in all the details about the property. And then yeah, go through and really hit those amenities. Make sure you have everything that you offer You got to pack and play. That constitutes as a crib. I even contacted Airbnb and verified that. So you got to pack and play, you got a crib. Go through, hit all the amenities, make sure you do all of them. That is very important. I mentioned in the other video, but I'm going to double tap it. Airbnb is playing this like I'm a social media platform kind of a game. So what does that mean? It means it wants you to put information when it asks for it, and it wants you to use the things and the tools that it has. So kind of like how I talked about pricing earlier, you know, we have the pricing software that we recommend, but we also want to go into Airbnb and use its pricing tools. Think, you know, I'm very new to social media, so I don't understand this, but someone's explained it to me. When you're making an Instagram video, it gets better reach when you use the Instagram video editing tools. Okay, cool. What does that mean? It means if you make a video off of Instagram and then post it, it's gonna go to less people because Instagram wants to reward you for using its in-house video editing stuff. Okay, cool. What does that mean for Airbnb? It means don't edit your listing, aka the prices outside, use Airbnb tools. So what does that mean? Okay, use Airbnb pricing tools. If Airbnb wants amenities, give the amenities. The more you feed the Airbnb machine, the happier it is. To include your profile. Go and make sure your profile is completely filled out with all your hobbies and interests and all that stuff. Airbnb wants to create this social experience, and you're gonna deliver it by giving it everything that they want. That's my advice if you want to be in the top % of hosts, which I think you do if you're watching this. At the very least, you want to make more money, and the key to making more money is giving Airbnb what it wants, especially if you are, you know, reliant on them for sending people to you as your primary source of marketing, especially when you start off with Airbnb in the beginning. Enough said on that. Okay, accessibility features. This is where you're going to have all these things that you've got for accessibility things. Do not lie about this. Make this very accurate. If you don't have it, you don't have it. Location, we've hit that again. Verify your location. You can upload photos so people can see, so that Airbnb can see that you're telling the truth about your listing. Once again, just another way, when Airbnb asks for it, we give Airbnb what it wants, and then hopefully rewards us, shines down mercifully upon us on the algorithm gods by yielding you first page search results. So we want to give Airbnb what it wants. Put the address in. This is a fake address. I don't know where this property is. It's just in the market that we are in. For this right here, these are different settings. So show your specific location. Yeah, you can move this a little bit, but what this does is it just allows people to have a more accurate understanding of what they're getting into when they're getting your property. This is interesting. Yep, hide all their stuff while guests can cancel for free, and then once they can cancel, send it to them. That's up to you. You do whatever you want there. Another thing that you can put here, just make sure you have this entered, you know, private entrance, laundromat nearby, all this stuff. Cool, save it. Whatever applies to you, you're gonna wanna do it. Neighborhood description. Okay, this is where you load up everything cool about the area that your property is in. So all the stuff that the people need to know, and if there's other stuff they need to know that's not so cool, you can put that there too, but hopefully that's not the case. So yeah, neighborhood description. You're gonna want to pack that full of useful stuff and stuff that gets them jazzed up about the area that they're about to be going to. Getting around. Cool. This is where you put stuff that helps them understand how to navigate. And I put myself in the shoes of the people and the guests that come to our property. If we're in a city, I talk about the metro and how to get around and where to go and what's walking distance and what you need to drive to and how to get to all big attractions like DC if they're coming to Northern Virginia. All that stuff, you're gonna wanna put that in getting around. And you're gonna explain the parking situation. If you've got teeny tiny parking spots, you gotta let them know, hey, your truck is not gonna fit in the alley parking spot that we have. You're gonna have to find street parking. This is where you're gonna put that stuff. Scenic views, like the amenities, like everything else, go through here and honestly answer if you got those. A good example, one of our properties in California, we were joking about mountain views. I said, yeah, mountain views. And like, oh yeah, there's no mountain views. Well, sure enough, when you sit in the backyard and look, you can just see the mountains in the distance. That, my friend, is what we call a mountain view. So throw that in there and you're good to go. Once again, this is a hypothetical listing. There's no mountain views in Alexandria, Virginia. None that I'm tracking. Okay, here's one of the profiles we use. It's Alex's. So we are gonna wanna optimize that profile just like we talked about before. So making sure you have everything filled out to make sure you're giving Airbnb what they want. Co-hosts. Well, if you have the co-host, this is where you're gonna link them in to your property. If you're struggling and you are like, hey, I would love some help, guess what? We would be happy to help you co-hosting. You can just take this thing right here and you can send it our way. bnbguardians.com gladly would look out how to help you out there with hosting. Book settings. We talked about this. So you will eventually use Instant Book. So what that looks like, require a good track record. I think when you're starting out, I'd require a good track record. So basically, guests who have stayed in Airbnb without issues. If you're in a decent market, then, shouldn't be a problem. And then a custom message. Here you can put something to ask them a question before they book. Hey, let me know about what you're going on, all that stuff. We don't do that. We reduce as much friction as possible to get people to book our properties. So as you would imagine, we don't ask questions, we just let them book. All right, pets allowed. You make that decision. It's a niche, it gets people, but some people don't want pets. Events allowed. I normally would say no. That shouts party in my place. Smoking, no. Quiet hours. Yeah, that's reasonable. We normally do like 11 to 7 is reasonable, 10 to 7 also reasonable. No. Check in, check out times. I've seen the check-in window. They can check in whenever they want if they book the property. And then we ask that they leave at 10. Give our cleaners some time to do stuff. So check in around 4, check out around 10. Additional rules. Anything else you can think about rule-wise is gonna go in here. This is a good place to reiterate. You're smoking, no partying, no pets, anything that you could think about. Laundry, cleaning up when you leave, dishes, all that stuff. You can put that in there, knock yourself out. Those are the house rules. Okay, guest safety. Once again, Airbnb has all of these features. I want you to understand that they want you to fill them out. Don't just leave it blank. Go and fill it out. Not a good fit for children 2 to 12, and all these have learned more, so figure out what that means, but you probably know. I'm gonna say it is a good fit. So I'm gonna say it is a good fit. Great. Not a good fit for if it's under 2. It's fine. Pools or hot tub don't have a gate or lock. Nearby water, no. Climbing, no. There are heights without rails. Sure, yes. A balcony has no rails. These are things that you want to put in. Potentially dangerous animal on the property. Ugh, why would you have that? So save that when you're done. The safety devices that you have, this is where you put the Ring camera, this is where you put the noise detector. You definitely should have a carbon monoxide alarm, and you definitely should have a smoke alarm. You can add what kind on there. Like I said, the more you add, the better. Just go through and add all the details, everything you have. You do it once, and then it's there, and you're just better for it. Guests must climb stairs, noise during stay, pets on the property. Be honest about this stuff. Because what that means is when a guest comes, and if you have a pet on the property, a guest comes and they're like, there's a dog barking above me, and I'm in a basement unit and there's a dog barking above me, you can say, yeah, we mentioned it. There's not only do we say there's pets on the property, we actually addressed it in the description in the listing. So you want to make sure you are being very, very, very honest with this stuff because it protects you in the back end when it comes to guests leaving bad reviews. Cancellation. Here's the deal. There's all types of cancellation policies, from flexible to strict. The more flexible your cancellation policy, the better it will be for guests that are looking to book. So if you have a flexible booking, Airbnb will promote it. But there's a trade-off because that means that they can get a full refund if they cancel the day before check-in. I'll be honest, we use strict for most of our bookings, and our occupancy hasn't suffered, and we protect ourselves. So I would recommend strict unless you're comfortable with it and you're okay with people getting a bunch of money back. So up to you. It's gonna tell you all this stuff. I don't want someone to cancel the day before, so thanks. Non-refundable, whoa. Basically, guests can pay 10% less, but no matter what happens, you get it if they cancel. Interesting. Long-term stay policy, well, once again, I'll let you make the decision there, but full refund up to 30 days before. After that 30 days, none of the stays are refundable. I would say when someone's booking a big booking, they're taking a bunch of days off of your calendar, you are gonna wanna protect yourself and make sure that if they cancel that you're left protected. So I'd recommend strict. Okay, custom link. Don't just have a random link, have a cool link, man. So this is where you can have a cool link because it's gonna be what people send, but I would do something fun like, gone are the days of fun titles, but the days of custom links. Now we're in a season of wit and banter. So here would be something fun like city pool it is, because you got a pool and you're in the city. What a fun little thing we got going on there. Okay, the arrival guide, the directions, we've talked about that. The check-in method, if you've got a smart lock, this is where you link it. You can link it here and use the smart lock. We use Schlags, definitely recommend those. If you don't have a smart lock, any other kind of lock that you have, or staff, or whatever, this is where you put that data so people get that. Wi-Fi details, pretty straightforward. Put your Wi-Fi details in there. House manual. Okay, we create a pretty in-depth house manual for people. We make a PDF, it has everything. I'm talking from the outside, where to park, when to park, what to avoid, all the way to how to get like step-by-step pictures of how to get into the property, where the key code is, how to use the key code once you're inside, a layout of the property, how to use the thermostat, how to use the TV, different things in the kitchen. We have it all in there. Not to mention we have recommendations for, restaurants and things to do. All that stuff is in our house manual. We send it to the guests via PDF, but also put it in here. Why not? Can't hurt. So yeah, throw that in there, but you're gonna wanna make sure you capture everything a guest could want. All right, guest requirements. Require a profile photo. Let's send it, dude. Make it more, protect yourself a little bit. This is what the Airbnb guests have to do. But a profile, it's like, yeah, man, throw a profile photo up on there. Make it real. Local laws. This is where you can find out stuff about that. And then taxes, all that stuff. And if you wanna remove the listing, which I will have to do at the end of this video because it is fake, I'll do it there. Now, you might think, okay, there it is, the 3 things, I'm done. Here's the deal. So you might be asking, what more do I need to do? Everything is done. I did all the things on the left. We worked from top to bottom, each side. The listing is done. No, there are still more things hidden, waiting to steal money from you. How sneaky, Airbnb, you naughty minx. Okay, that's okay. We're gonna help you out. And we're gonna go from most important to nice to have to help your life be a little less hectic when you get that listing live. The first and most important thing is the calendar. Yes, the pricing calendar. How Airbnb doesn't have this automatically linked, I do not know, but here we are. So you're gonna go through the pricing. This stuff should be already seen, but here, look at this, more discounts that you can do. You can add early bird discounts, last minute discounts, and trip length discounts. I'm not gonna go into crazy revenue management, but here's the deal. All that stuff helps you take more control of your listing. But this is what we really wanna look at, fees. This is where you're gonna put your cleaning fee. So pick the cleaning fee that makes sense for your property. This is where you're gonna put a pet fee, extra guest fee. So when to use an extra guest fee, let's say you have a futon mattress. So you got 2 beds and a futon. The futon sleeps 1 person. I would say after 4, charge an additional guest fee of like $20 per night per person after 4. And what that means is if 5 people come, you're gonna have to probably pay your cleaner extra to do the sheets on the futon, all that stuff. Okay, make a little extra bucks, you're good to go there. Here are all these different fees that Airbnb puts in. They change them around and there's different things there. These are almost hidden, a lot of these are hidden fees. So we use management fee to hide in other fees that spread out across the listing. This is getting pretty advanced. Don't worry about any of this stuff here unless you actually have to do it for something. Let's say you have a resort fee or something crazy like that. But I would try and reduce these as much as possible. Make the cleaning fee as low as possible because people hate their fees, they really do, and just focus on smart pricing to get the price where you want. And here's your availability there that we've seen before. And this is where you can connect the calendars to other websites or other listings if you have combined listings, and you know your availability window. Let's say we don't want it 12 months in advance. Let's say you just want it 3 months in advance. This is where you're gonna go do that. Here is where you can start taking control of your pricing with all length of stay discounts and all different fun, cool things. Okay, I'm not gonna click into my messages because then you're gonna see correspondence with other guests, which would be a no-no, but you can go into messages and do a few things. You can set up quick replies. What you're gonna do is you're gonna go into messages, and then there's gonna be a little gear icon on the left side, on the top of that bar, and you're gonna click it. And in there, in the message settings, you're gonna be able to set up quick replies. You can set up quick replies for all different properties and have it do different things. So that's important. You're gonna set up quick replies. That way you don't have to keep on answering the same questions over and over again. Suggested replies are in there. And finally, you can create an automated workflow of messages that guests will be sent once they book your property. That way they can get things sent out so you have to resend the same message to every guest. These are all things that you can do within the Airbnb platform. Listen, we just you fire hosed you hard. But you just learned more about Airbnb than most hosts that have been hosting for 10 plus years have never even heard of. I'm talking, you've flipped more switches and pulled more levers and pressed more buttons than 75% of hosts on Airbnb have. So what does that do? It sets you apart. It's going to fast track you to Superhost. It's going to fast track you to higher occupancy and most importantly, more revenue. And I'm excited that you stuck along for the whole ride and got every piece of data that we have as of now for Airbnb as of 2025. So yes, a lesson here to learn is that Airbnb is constantly updating. What does that mean? Don't let your listings go stagnant. Occasionally go back and review, and Airbnb does a cool thing where it shows you missed opportunities, things that you haven't done in your listing. You want to make sure if a missed opportunity pops up that you're going to hit it, and that you go through and check your listings and make sure that you had everything that Airbnb wants you to fill out is filled out. So what next? I'll say don't stop here. The 100% free guide to everything besides the Airbnb side of the listing setup is waiting for you. That free guidebook is linked below. All you gotta do is click it and you get it. Easy as that. I'm stuck in the yesteryear of dropping comments. Just make sure that you get your hands on that free guide because it's gonna help you out. This is how you build a listing that performs in the top 1% of your market. And don't stop here. Yes, keep learning what Airbnb does, but also there's more to a listing than just the Airbnb setup. So please, please, please take advantage of our 100% free guide to finding and starting your first Airbnb listing. It's gonna be linked below. And if you want to comment free cheese, hey, I'll just like DM you back, hey, it's in the link below. Feel free to click that. I just want people to say free cheese in the comments. What can I say? I'm a silly goose. So if you want a little extra help and you want us to personally review your listing before it goes live, that is something that we can do as well. And I'll set up a link below so you can reach out to me and we can schedule a call to go over your listing and make sure it is 100% good to go before it hits the mean streets of Airbnb. So I'm here to help. Want to see you guys succeed any way we can. Let's get it done. And of course, if this helped, please like and subscribe and forward this video along to someone who still is thinking Airbnb is set it and forget it. And right about now, there should be another one of these little fancy guys popping around to help you out on your Airbnb journey. Take it easy. Cheers.